Hey coaches, Coach Eric here, coachestrainingroom.com. Coach Mark is here as well in England. Hope you're doing awesome. Thanks for joining us live here today. We appreciate you. We hope you've been enjoying our sessions. I'm going to try to use this mic here and see if this might help with my my sound. But anyways, thanks for joining us. Let me just make sure we're on here. It looks like we're going to be good to go. And
Yep.
Coach Mark, are you there as well? How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, excellent. Over the tooth issues of last week, and seem to be back on top form. So happy to be here.
Nice. Yeah, I'm trying to be you, growing that beard a little bit. It's a little
In
chilly.
the beard coming on, yeah, a little bit of
Yeah, a little warmth.
same kit today as well. Unplanned.
Yep. Got the gray and the red logo today. Didn't even plan it. It just happened that way. That's how good we are. So, how you doing, coaches? Where are you from? Don't be shy. Go ahead, let us know where you're from, where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And go ahead and post any questions in the comments as normal here on Live Mondays with Coach Mark. Today's topic is defensive principles, and we're going to be going through that. And feel free to, as we're going through, post any questions that you have in regards to defensive principles topic, and then we'll go from there. So again, it is beneficial to be here live with us because you can ask your questions, and there are times where we'll be able to answer live right on video here, so you get your answer right away. But let's see if we got some comments coming through. Let me put this down a little bit. Oh, here we go. All right, perfect. And at the end, I'll share some links. The tops, actually, we have 7 awesome defending sessions we want to share with you at the end of the video. So I'll share that link at the end. So make sure you check that out. It's got them in video format. Those of you that are familiar with our sessions, there's going to be video sessions and downloadable plan for each activity on that as well. So check it out at the end. I'll post that link. All right. Thanks for joining us, coaches. Coach Mark, you ready to take away a bit? And I'll moderate the feed here and see who's joining us.
Awesome. So thanks again. If you're on live with us, welcome. We're just going to dive straight into some of the stuff because I know that a lot of countries right now are gearing up for a new season, a new spring season. So I thought it would be good to go over some of the things that, it's great doing all the theory stuff, but sometimes it's nice just to get into a little bit more of the application of the theory into, what we're going to be working on. So for some of you, this might be a refresher. Again, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel with what we're saying here. We're just trying to break it down to something that's easily digestible, bite size, just to either refresh us, or if it's not, if you're a first time coach or even a coach who's been coaching for many years, sometimes seeing it this way is just compounds the knowledge or just breaks it down into a way that you can apply to your own teams. So we're going to be looking at the defensive principles. Obviously, the glamorous side of the game is taking players on, is scoring tons of goals, working as a team, working as a unit. But the other side of that, obviously, the defense is working very, very hard, and there's a lot of structure, discipline, and organization that goes into a good defense. And as many good coaches have said, and it's not new, but if you don't concede a goal, then you can't lose. So it's important to have solid foundations so that you can build from there. And again, I believe that a successful team is where the defenders feel just as important as the strikers. So again, it's about creating that team, creating that team feel, and also just to not to neglect those principles, because they are going to be the bedrock from where we build the rest of the team. So this is actually a little excerpt from the U12 book that Eric touched on last week. A little excerpt from our book. Again, it's just a nice little simple table. I think what we'll do, Eric, is we'll just post a little picture of the table within the comments towards the end. I'll do it through.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll do it when we when we go off live, because too many things here, I'll start confusing myself, getting myself a little bit mixed up. So just to dive into it, we'll start with the attacking principle and the opposite. What's actually going to it's page 13, Eric, if you need to if you need to dive to what I can see there.
Here's the book.
So the attacking principle and then the defensive kind of opposite there, so we can see the table. That looks clear to me. So firstly, if we really simplify the game of soccer, you get the ball, you run to the goal. Okay, we're going to call that penetration for this example here. You get the ball, you drive at where you're trying to arrive at, and you shoot the ball in the goal. So if there are no defenders on the pitch, that is what the player is going to do, is going to run straight towards the goal, shoot and score. The first defensive principle then for penetration is to delay. And what we mean here when we say delay is to slow the attacker. So that is the role of the first defender, is to delay. So slow the attack down. You remain in a constant object between the ball and the destination. So we talked about just running directly to the goal. Your job as the first defender is just to remain in that space, slow them down, and try and win the ball back if possible. What we see too often is players getting a little bit overexcited and trying to go in and win the ball back straight away. So for the player who is delaying, the first defender, it is important that they show discipline, that they keep their body in line, and we'll talk maybe a little bit about body shape another time. But you're going to want to get side on to that attacker, slow them down, and ultimately keep tight and mobile, making sure that we're watching perhaps the ball and not the body, because the body is what's going to throw us off a little bit. So if a player feints, drops the shoulder to the left and then moves to the right, if we're watching the body, we might follow the feint and then we're off balance and the player beats us. So again, slow them down. And then the last point here is to make play predictable. And go on, I will dive straight into everything. So sorry, Eric, I'm going to get into detail. So making play predictable, we are the first defender. We slow the attacker down. Now there's a couple of ways we can do that. Firstly, I've mentioned be an object between ball and destination. So that's absolutely wonderful. Now I run up to the defender. If I'm square on, the attacker has got potentially 3 ways to go past me: to the left, to the right, and through my legs if I'm too square. So what I need to do is position myself a bit more sideways on. Okay, so now I'm ready to go forwards, I'm ready to go backwards, and I can move to the sides if I need to.
Hey, again, Coach Mark, yeah. What's the I remember during the defending webinar that you did, what was I liked what you did with it. It was between surfboard and.
Oh yeah, right between. Yeah, that is right. Okay, so somewhere between a surfboard and a skateboard. Right?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay, yeah, you kind of we're not exactly too square to the player. We're somewhere in between, so that our body is obviously facing where we want to push them towards, and that is the making play predictable part. So if I just round back there, if I'm too sideways on, I still give the player the opportunity to go to my blind side, which is ultimately probably the most dangerous place I could send them from a defender's point of view. So I need to step across just a little bit here. Okay, so now I'm giving the attacker one direction to move to. So that is me making play predictable, because as the defender, I don't have the ball, so I'm at a disadvantage here. Okay, they've got the ball, they make the first move, and I react to that. So I need to try and weight this in my favor a little bit more. So as the defender, I'm going to offer them one side to go to, make the play predictable. There are complete conflicts as to whether you use the sideline and force them towards the outside of the field, which is generally what I would favor, because if you're forcing a player towards the outside of the field, you can use the touchline as a second defender and kind of usher them, shepherd them into a less dangerous area. If you show them back in field, yes, you might be showing them into traffic, into other players, other teammates of yours, but you're also setting them up in potentially the middle of the goal. So if something goes wrong, you're offering them a chance in a dangerous area. So make play predictable, and delay is the role of that first defender.
Great.
So
thanks. We got a couple coaches on. We got Coach Bilal from Sweden. I believe he joined us before for one of the lives. Thanks for joining us.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us again.
Sweden. Coach Merle from, let's see, I don't know if he put from where he's from here. Oh, I'm from Brunei. Darasalam.
Awesome. Thanks for joining.
And yep. And then we got, so any questions you have, let us know. The topic today is defensive principles. And then we got Coach Lanes from, was that Senegal? SG? I don't know. Sweet. SG. Not sure.
I've lost the comment. Hold on, I'm having technical issues again.
Oh, with the quote to see the comments?
Yeah, I don't know why this does this. Okay.
Yeah, I have it popped up on my phone here, so we got people, coaches joining in. So any questions you coaches have, just feel free to post them below. And like I said, some of the format will be like this, and some format will be going through actual sessions, and some will be more Q&A back and forth. So.
Oh yeah, there we go. I've got them now.
There you go.
Eventually. Okay. So yeah, the second one. So this will be the role of the second defender, and I'm going to try and incorporate some props in a minute. All right. So this is probably where it goes completely wrong, but we'll do our best. So
you're all good, man.
The second principle here would be support of the first attacker. Sorry, the first defender. So we're supporting the first defender, and in that instance, what we're looking at here is just covering the space in behind, because if the first defender gets beaten, that second defender is going to become the first defender. We're going to switch roles. So your position is to so this is, we're talking now about from the attacking point of view, is support for the attacker who's got the ball, is also going to be the opposite to that. The defensive principle is also support. So you need to position yourself in a in fact, I will just try and let's see if we can switch around. Eric, I'm just going to give you a quick, can you see what I'm doing here if I get the
Yep, I'm going to zoom it in.
Zoom in on me.
I'm going to zoom in on this. I think I can zoom in. I did it before somehow. Oh, I think what I did was I was able to share. Here we go. Share, and then, oh, where did it go? Oh, I'm going to stop sharing. Oh, you know what? Here, I can do it. I can make it. There we go. Okay, go ahead. Go back.
I'll keep talking for now.
No, now you're good. Go ahead. I got you big on the screen now.
Okay, right. Okay, we'll cut back to here then. So can you see that okay?
Perfect. There we go.
I think so. I feel like we're lagging just a little bit, Eric. Can you see that?
Yes, I can see it. It's perfect right now.
Perfect. Yeah, good. Okay, so the attacker's got the ball here. So the first defender is going to drop in there. Okay, so they're going to push up and they're going to provide that. They're going to cut right out to where they need to be, and they're providing that. They're going to delay from there. So they're pressuring the ball. They're not giving them time and space. And the role of the second defender is to tuck into the space so that, let's say, for example, number 6 does beat the first defender here. That second defender can assume the role of the first defender and effectively drop out of position. That gives the defender who was beaten the opportunity to assume the role of the second defender. So it's nice and fluid. All we're doing there is getting a little bit of mobility into what we're doing. So and the second defender is also effectively the rudder, if you like. So if we're trying to make this predictable, if we're trying to force them out to the sideline, that second defender is going to follow the lead of the first defender and protect the key area of the pitch, but also just force the player out to the outside of the field there, again, with their positioning, because, again, making play predictable. If they see an opportunity to take on the first defender, that second defender is covering the space. So, again, it just further compounds the forcing of the player out to the outside, or the area that you want them to play in again. Okay, and then the third attacking principle here would be mobility. Now, what we're talking about here in mobility is exactly that. So the attackers are going to be moving around a lot. They're going to try and move us out of position, and the actual opposite of that to help us stay in shape is going to be balance. And there's going to be a lot of communication here in order to maintain the balance, because ultimately, if a player makes a run, we need to identify, is it a dangerous run? So if I just cut back, Eric, I'm going to keep you busy tonight. I'm going to just scoot back here. So if I was to say number 5 makes a run out this way, is that all right, Eric? You up to speed with me?
Perfect.
Yeah. So if number 5 makes a run out here, do I, as the right back in this situation, need to run out and cover that? I'm going to say no, because that will lead us nicely into the next point that we're looking at here. All we're doing by, if we identify the danger, key danger there is the ball, okay, and then I would rank them in order of danger as to where they're positioned on the field. If they're positioned in the center area here, I'd consider them a passive threat. If they're pushed out onto this sideline, they're somebody to keep an eye on, but I wouldn't say that they're an immediate threat. If I follow them out here as the right back, all I'm doing is stretching this player here in the middle and creating these big gaps right in the middle of our defensive line here for the attacking team to play in. So just to shift everyone back over, mobility is all about, from the attacking sense, moving us around as a defensive unit and trying to create those holes. So we need to stay disciplined and stay balanced and identify the threats as they come and go. And while we're on one of those points, Eric, I'm going to skip number 4, just go straight to number 5 and back on to width. So if we push these players right out to the sidelines here, the way that we're going to counteract this as a defensive unit is through concentration and written concentration here. Just to elaborate on that a little bit, what I mean is concentrating our efforts around the ball. So from stretching out as wide as they can, as using both touch lines here, what the attacking team would like us to do is set up something like this, which from here has created these enormous gaps for the number 8 to make a run into, number 4 to come on the blind side, and to play those passes in behind us in those big gaps. So from a concentration perspective, we're just going to shift around to the role of the second defender, third and fourth. We're going to tuck over so that we're focusing our efforts around the main danger, which is the ball, and these players in the middle here. Because ultimately, if the play was to be switched while the ball is in transit and being brought under control by this winger out here, what that gives us the opportunity to do is to shift over as a defensive pack and concentrate around the ball there. So these players, obviously, they're going to move up, but we're staying nice and compact and concentrating our efforts around the main danger. So with width, I would say, the main thing is that we don't just follow our players, that we are identifying the threats as they come. And if the players switch, that we're moving over as a defensive unit. But again, that will be something that has to be communicated. It's going to take a lot of focus and probably one realistically clear voice in that defensive line, somebody who can organise us, who can keep us in line. And also with defending, very, very important that you constantly communicate what you're doing, even if it sounds very, very obvious. If I'm going to go and pressure the ball, I need to let my teammates know that I am going to pressure the ball so that they can fall in around me nice and early. So if I go and pressure the ball, I become the first defender who is delaying, slowing them down and trying to make the play predictable, as the other defensive, the 3 other defensive players around me, they're going to fall in line. Somebody's going to become the second defender, third, fourth, and just provide either coverage for myself, that little bit of extra protection, but also watch the runs and cut off the passing lanes. Because if we can win the ball back in that area, then we're going to be able to mount an attack straight away. And in that transition period is a great opportunity to mount an attack while that attacking team is out of shape.
Excellent. We got Coach Mike on as well. We got Coach Alex on. We got Coach Paulo on as well. Thanks for joining us, coaches. We really appreciate you. Any questions that you have, we hope you're enjoying the defensive principles session today. We're just wrapping it up now. So we try to use various visuals and to kind of, since this is our 5th video live, we're kind of experimenting with different visuals and different ways of doing it, so we can then take a poll and see what you guys like best and see what works best for you guys. So we have Coach Tom as well on, Coach Raphael. Thanks for joining us. Now, just a quick question. I know you have to go, Coach Mark, here shortly, so we're trying to keep these to half an hour. We have a question. If I can open this up.
Yeah, I'm just trying to
read
it.
Can you see it? Okay.
Yeah, slightly off topic. Defensive principles. I can summarize the first bit for you, Tom. I'll perhaps because it's a big old question here, so I want to unpack everything in that and write you a full response. But generally, in the once I've lost the ball, I mean, it starts with the attacking phase. Really, I like to keep the distances between passes nice and short. So. Because ultimately, if you do lose the ball and you do have a good structure, then counter pressing absolutely, because when the team has won the ball back is probably the best time to get at them, really, because they're not in an attacking shape, other than if they might just be looking for a long ball up and over the top, in which case we try and adjust to see fit. But really, if we do, I would look for a counter press. I would look for a quick counter press as well. Guardiola talks about the 6-second counter press, but again, it's not something he's invented. That was Johan Cruyff, and it's adopted and changed to a lot of the pro coaches, but also it does run straight down through to grassroots. So a counter press, if it's not done in a couple of seconds, I don't want to be chasing shadows, then I will drop back into a formation. So if you can't win the ball back nice and quickly, nice and early, then drop off and move into that regrouping, restructuring, and defend from there. Ultimately, the pros of winning the ball back in a counter press situation is that team is going from a defensive setup. They win the ball back. They're not in the shape to start. They're not in an attacking shape yet. They're in that transitional phase. So if you can win the ball back there, the biggest and most obvious pro that I would be able to find is that you've won the ball back high up the field. And if you can take advantage of that transition again from having the ball to not having the ball, then ultimately, if you look at turnover of possession, where it happens on the field, it's those statistically a ball coming infield in a defensive half actually results in there's a surprising statistic for actually goals conceded from just trying to play in your own half. So ultimately, a high press, counter press to try and win the ball back is going to result in, if done successfully, a good opportunity on goal. But ultimately, the counter press negative is if you don't win the ball back, then you've been chasing shadows. It's high energy stuff. So you can burn yourselves out by pressing too hard too quick. And also the counter press has got to be done as a pack. If it's not done as a pack, then you're going to get picked off. So they would be the top two. But I will dive into that because that's a big question, a good question. So thanks for that one, Tom, because I think a lot of people will be able to benefit from just bouncing ideas on that. So I will get back to you in the comment section for that, if that's okay.
Nice. Yeah, we got Coach Ernest on, Coach Bart. Coach Bilal asked another question. See, once you get going on answering the questions, Mark, they start flowing in, right. And it's getting late there. I know you don't have time, but so we'll answer them through the messages. I think he had to leave as well, but he wanted to post his question so we can look over it. That's another good point. Oh, we got Coach Kaka on as well, Kakha on as well, a U19 coach from Brooklyn. Welcome. Awesome. Brooklyn, New York. So, we appreciate you joining us here live. Feel free to leave any questions in the comments. We'll definitely read them and reply after this live. We just don't have time to go through. We're trying to keep this to about half an hour. We're already over. I think we've tried to hit half an hour and we've always gone over a bit, which is fine because we want to help as much as possible. But if you still leave your comments below and we'll get to them after the live as well, because it's going to stay on the page and we're going to be able to still get to those questions and answer you and send you a reply that way. Now, before we go, I said I'd send you that link, share that link with you for the 7 free defending sessions. And it's really simple to get there if you don't have it already. It is, I just posted it there, which is the 7 defending sessions, coachestrainingroom.com/7D. So that is the link you go to grab those 7 defending activities. And I'm going to pin that here. Again, the link, the specific link that you put in the URL is coachestrainingroom.com/7D. All right. Awesome. Excellent. We got Coach Ernest on from Nigeria. Welcome, Coach Bart as well. The role of the goalkeeper, we'll definitely touch on that as well. The role of the goalkeeper as part of the defense, we'll touch on that as well. Coach Mark and myself will discuss that and definitely get back to you, Coach Bart. All right, so check out those 7 defending sessions. I posted in the comments there below. I'll actually pin it right now so you can see it. It's the latest message down just above the comments. Also, keep a lookout, coaches, because we're going to start doing our you'll see some special announcements from us on our special coaching packages, our physical coaching packages, along with some of our digital packages as well. So keep an eye out for those. Sometimes they're limited time only, so make sure you follow our lives here. I think you can subscribe, press the button to subscribe, and then keep a lookout on all of our pages, the groups and the main Coaches Training Room Facebook page. Thanks for joining us, coaches. Coach Mark, anything else you have at this time?
No, that's it. Just thank you again for joining, and some really good questions there. So again, thanks for that. I'll dive in the comments after this, just sum up some of those. And if anyone's got any questions, I realize sometimes I can spend quite a lot of time talking about one particular part of a session, and maybe I need to go into more depth with some of the other areas, or maybe you might want me to shorten some of the answers I give. So yeah, if you've got any questions with regards to anything that I've said, or want to open out anything that I touched on, just for more ideas, more options, or maybe more information. If you're not 100% comfortable commenting here, then message us. You can send us an email or a private message on Facebook, and we'll get back to it. But yeah, again, anything that we can do to be of benefit, let us know. But we're enjoying being on with you Mondays live, and yeah, we'll see you next week.
All right, awesome. All right, coaches, take it easy. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next Monday, 5 p.m. every Monday, 5 to 5:30. All right, take it easy. We'll see you at the next one.